Hello my darling, so I will promise to make this intro short and sweet because we have a lot to go through. So today we are doing the best of designer fragrances. And what do I mean by designer? Basically everyone whom is a fashion brand and makes perfumes. So in this video you will not see Guerlain or Lancôme, because to me this is not really designer, since they only do makeup, skincare and perfumes. Tell me in the comments below what you think about that, but I wouldn't say they're designer particularly, right? So I have a lot to show you because I chose the best, of course, in my humble opinion, when it comes to each of the designer. Of course, I don't have every single designer under the sun here in this video because it would be 3 hours long. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. And before you do that, please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. So now we are gonna start with a brand that's definitely my absolute favorite when it comes to designer fragrances, and also the whole house as a house of fashion is definitely one of my favorites, and that is Dior. And guys, I will not mention all those private collection, those expensive lines. Everything that we are referring to today is mainstream, right? So everything you can find over the counter at Sephora. So first Dior that I have to mention because it's a cult classic, it's just so good. To me it can easily compete with some niche fragrances, and that is Dior Addict. This is a fantastic fragrance. It is a white floral vanilla. It has a lot of jasmine. It's bourbon vanilla. It's quite powdery, very sexy, quite mature, very long lasting, and has a great projection. So I truly enjoy it. I would say it's definitely on the mature side. So when I was a teenager, I wouldn't really wear it. But at the moment, for the winter time, it's absolutely exquisite. So the first one is Dior Addict. And I have another fragrance from Dior because I just couldn't help myself. And I'll be honest, when it comes to Dior, I could choose at least 10. When it comes to designer fragrances, Dior is definitely at the top of my list, if not the one and only that I would go for if I could only go with one designer. So choosing just two was actually really hard. And maybe it might surprise you because probably some people think it's not worth mentioning, but to me this is definitely my favorite Dior fragrance, if not one of my favorite fragrances in my whole collection of all time, and that is Poison Girl Perfume, the Eau de Parfum, alright? Not the Eau de Toilette. I like that it's dense, it's thick, but it's not as play-doh-y as Hypnotic Poison. This one has a lot of rose and tolu balsam and heliotrope and almonds and so many good stuff. A lot of tonka as well. So this is a beautiful combination. I've been literally talking about it since the beginning of my channel. This is a signature fragrance of mine since 2000, whenever it was released. This is how much I love it. I've worn it for years and years. It has great lasting power comparing to other designer fragrances. It has a very nice sillage. Everyone can smell you. Super sexy, man magnet. Love it. So that is Dior. Again, even now in my head, I could choose so much more, but I'm just gonna shut up and move on to another brand. All right. So now let's move on to Carolina Herrera. With Carolina Herrera, I'll be honest, this is not my favorite designer house, either when it comes to the clothing or when it comes to fragrances. I very rarely have my favorites in there. I rarely use the brand, I rarely purchase it, but I got a fragrance that I actually really do enjoy, so I will mention it. Also, I know many of you want an update from my haul, And yeah, that is Carolina Herrera, Very Good Girl Eau de Parfum. So this one, I know actually in the comments, some of you say that you don't like it. I love it. If you are reading all those comparisons to the Lina, no, of course it's not like the Lina, but this is a beautiful combination of rose and vanilla. I definitely do get a lot of vanilla in here. So to me, it's this beautiful, flirty, sunny, bunny, honey fragrance. You know what I mean? Like this sweet, flirty fragrance that you want to wear day to day. It's definitely on the light side, but the longevity is indeed fantastic. I must say I was so surprised because I wore this when I was in my mom's house. By the way, so many of you want an update from it, and I have thousands of DMs and comments like, so why don't you live with your mom? Like, you bought the house together and you don't live there with her. Guys, no, I don't live with her. I do have my place there, I do have my stuff there, but I would never live permanently with my mom or any other parent because I like my privacy, I like my freedom, and with parents, this is very well known, your freedom, no matter how old you are, it will be taken. So, as much as I love her, she is my friend, like true friend, as a person. No, but enough of my rant. Just so you know, this is why I don't live with my mom. Also, my baby is coming in a week to Poland, so he will be staying in our apartment, which I'm very happy with because we need our privacy for sure. So yes, guys, Carolina Herrera, it is long lasting. I wouldn't say it's like the heaviest, strongest fragrance ever, but it has a great lasting power, and I was actually starting my thought process that I went to my mom and I was wearing it and I sprayed myself in my room there, and then the next day I came back to the house of hers, went into that room, and I could still smell that little munchkin. I really did. I really could smell the fragrance in the air, which was like, not many fragrance can do that, you know, really. So chapeau bas, I'm clapping my hands towards this fake Louboutin, but I love it. I really love it. This is definitely way better than Angel Nova. I will get into it in my next video probably. So yes, for Carolina Herrera, Very Good Girl is pretty much the only one fragrance that I like. Alright, now we can move on to another brand, which is Kenzo. And as much as I do appreciate some casual wear of Kenzo as a designer house, with fragrances, it's kind of like with Carolina Herrera, I don't have many favorites. But this one, it has to be in my collection forever. I love it. It's the best fragrance for summer. And that is Kenzo World Power. And this is the Eau de Parfum. And this is tonka bean, salt, and cypress. It is definitely on that sweet, citrusy, woody side. It is so exquisite. So exquisite, guys. It's nothing like Olympea by Paco Rabanne. No. It goes in a different direction. It is a salty fragrance. It has a lot of tonka. It is sweet, but it's very unisex. I love this. And the lasting power and projection with this one is outstanding. It really is outstanding. So you can have fun with it in the spring, summer months because it is just fantastic. So I highly recommend it from Kenzo. This is my favorite one. Now we can move on to Elie Saab. And with Elie Saab, I must admit, even though I cannot afford it at the moment, Elie Saab has the most beautiful gowns I have ever seen. Like this to me, like Elie Saab, Ralph and Russo, wow. Just wow. And when it comes to the fragrances, I do have some of my favorites there, but this one is definitely the one that I would just instantly grab if I could only choose one from the brand, and that is Le Parfum. And this is a beautiful honey, jasmine, orange blossom fragrance. It is sweet, and I also find it actually very sexy. Actually, let me spray it because I haven't worn it for a while. It is so beautiful. It is quite clean, very oriental, you know, Middle Eastern leaning, sweet, honeyed, rosy as well a little bit. So good. So good. It has a great lasting power as well, and considering the price, which is not too bad, you really cannot go wrong with it. This is such a good fragrance. It's also a great for a signature fragrance. It can be worn all year round. So yeah, fantastic one overall. Elie Saab Le Parfum. So that's my favorite from Elie Saab. Next, we have Marc Jacobs, and again, with Marc Jacobs, I'm not the biggest fan of the brand's designs, anything like that. And also, the fragrance is not my favorite. I used to have one favorite from Marc Jacobs when I was younger, and that was honey. It was such a beautiful honey fragrance, but it's not really available anymore. So I moved on, and I moved on to something very sexy and sensual, and that is Decadence. And since I don't have my SAPPHIRE bottle anymore, I can fully use the cap on this one, which looks quite cool, doesn't it? Really cool. Okay, so with Decadence, I used to hate it. Now I love it. You know the drill. Another fragrance that's very long lasting. To me, this is a green sweet fragrance. It's definitely on the sweet side, but that sweetness comes from oriental notes and plum. It's a good one. It really is a good one. I do prefer it over Mugler Aura, definitely. At the moment, it is a holy grail of mine, which I cannot believe I'm saying, but I don't see myself not having it anytime soon. So yes, Marc Jacobs Decadence, great one from designer. What do we have next? Giorgio Armani. And with Giorgio Armani, I must say I could not choose anything from the Privé line, like Rouge Malachite, Rose d'Arabie. No. I stayed away from them. So I only focused on the mainstream line. And I was thinking, like, what do I really love? Well, I love Si Passione. I love the one that I recently got, which is Si Fiori. I do love Terra di Gioia. I really do like many, and I really enjoy My Way. Like, this is on my top 10 when it comes to tuberose fragrances. But I was thinking, like, which fragrance do you really, like, truly love and have loved for years? And the answer is only this one, and that is Acqua di Gioia. Guys, I have gone through so many bottles of this fragrance. It used to have so much more power to it. Now it's definitely watered down, but the DNA stays the same, thankfully. It is beautiful. This is like this cold, aquatic, fresh fragrance with some florals, like white florals, very sophisticated florals, and brown sugar. So you get that sweetness that I always crave in my fragrance. I love when something is gourmand leaning. I do not like those, you know, straight up florals. This is definitely not my vibe, and this one is just so amazing. It has mint to it. It's just so refreshing in the summertime. Like another fragrance just like the Kenzo I mentioned, another absolutely fantastic one for summer. You have to have this. It is so beautiful. I really love it. When I smell it, I just need a drink. I'm getting thirsty when I'm smelling it. Love this one. Acqua di Gioia by Armani. At the moment, the longevity is not the best. I guess around 5 hours mark. All right, I'm thinking what I should go with next. Maybe Dolce & Gabbana. And actually, this is a brand that I find a lot of fragrances I love. And I had a hard time choosing, but with this particular one, I have two fragrances here to show you. With this one, again, I used for years, same vibe as Acqua di Gioia. This one is definitely more citrus woody, still very sweet, but citrus woody. And this one is, of course, light blue intense. My favorite citrus for summer. I went through bottles and bottles of this one. You cannot go wrong with it if you like sweet citruses that are very refreshing, very sexy, musky, woody in the base. Lovely, just lovely. This one is not really unisex. It's a bit too sweet, but for a girl, absolutely amazing. I love this one, and it really does stay pretty well on me, so I cannot complain. And the next one that I want to show you, and I was on a massive fence between the original gold, the one, Dolce Gabbana, which I really love. Like, there's so many that I like, but this one I think probably takes the cake, and that is the only one intense. First of all, my favorite bottle, hands down, and the scent itself is just stunning. So you get white florals, you get coconut, you get vanilla, you get woodiness, you get green apple. So there is so much niceness to it, like really. This is a fragrance that will work beautifully all year round. It can be a signature. It's good for daytime and nighttime. You can, you know, overspray and make it a super beast mode sexy fragrance, and you can wear it more intimately and it will be perfectly wearable for work or school or whatever. So I really love it for that. You know, it has some freshness, some sweetness, but it is quite dense at the same time. So I really love it. It has good lasting power, good projection, kind of reminds me of Alien in a very good way. And yeah, I love it. Dolce & Gabbana, the only one intense, and that is my last one from DNG. And speaking of Alien, so guys, when I was compiling this list, I thought I would have so much more from the brand. I'm talking about Mugler now. This definitely used to be my absolute go-to favorite fragrance house, my favorite fragrance designer. This has been my signature scent for years and years and years, and I think they destroyed the brand, literally. In my opinion, the brand has been destroyed when it comes to the fragrance department. I think if they don't change anything, it's just worthless to me at the moment. They watered down all the fragrances. They do not have their magic anymore. They are releasing absolute bullshit. Sorry for my wording, but I cannot even find any other words for it. It is just bullshit what they're releasing. I mean, I still do like those fragrances, but you know, it's nothing like Mugler used to be. And pretty much the only one I can still recommend you, semi-recommend you, is the original Alien Eau de Parfum. There have been so many beautiful flankers like Essence Absolue, which I'm not even gonna get into because they're not there anymore. Anything that was beautiful and good has been dismissed. So the only one that's left that I still do love is the original, but it's nothing like it used to be, obviously. It's watered down, it's more soapy, it's not beast mode anymore. I mean, it is beast mode, like you can smell it very much and people can smell it around you, but it is not as deep and dark, you know what I mean? So I still do love the DNA, but I don't have good words to say about it, so I'm just gonna shut up. Okay, let's move on to something super classy, shall we? So, Chanel. With Chanel, I also was on a fence. I couldn't choose. I love a lot of feminine fragrances as well as masculine ones, but I think these two I will always have in my collection. These are my favorites. I've had them for so long. I mean, the second one I'll get into. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you. So the first one is Chanson Fraiche. My favorite Chance, even though I do love the original Eau de Parfum, This one has been in my collection since I was a teenager. First my mom used to use it, then I stole it and it became my signature, especially for summertime. Spring, summer is where it's at. Beautiful cedary citrus fragrance with some florals. It's quite sweet. It has that Chanel touch, but it has no patchouli. I love it. I absolutely love this fragrance. Definitely one of the best fresher scents. So that is Chanson Fraiche. And the next one that I don't have for too long, I've had it for almost a year now. I used to love the original version, but now this one is my favorite, and that is Coco Mademoiselle Intense. This one is fruitier, sweeter, more vanilla, and has more of that patchouli warmth. It's not earthy in my opinion, it's just more warming on the skin. The patchouli here in Chanel Coco Mademoiselle, both of them, it's not this earthy kind of patchouli, it's this almost like Middle Eastern patchouli that they use. It's like very warm, super warming on the skin, cozy warming. And yeah, I absolutely love it. It has great lasting power, great projection. This one is definitely a beast mode, so I highly recommend it. This does not have that beautiful citrusy zest that the original does, so I would say this one is pretty much my all year round, and the original would be just spring summer. You know, that's how I would distinguish it. I love it though. So that is that. Tom Ford. Are you ready for some Tom Ford? I only have one fragrance because obviously I did not include Private Blend here because, you know, this is like this another story that maybe you would like to see. Let me know in the comments. I only have one fragrance. I would have two, but one is in South Africa, and I am talking about this baby. I can't believe I used to hate it so much. This is this glorious Middle Eastern type of gourmand, you know. It has kulfi, which is Indian dessert. It has so many spicy touches, typical for Middle East. It is very edible, a lot of vanilla in here. It's sweet, but it's very dark, like dark. And the other one that I highly recommend, maybe even more than this one, is Noir Extreme from the men's range. They smell very similar. Noir Extreme has more sandalwood. I love them both. They're both absolutely worth having. You pretty much need them both, okay? So yes, this is my top pick from Tom Ford. All right, Burberry. With Burberry, I've never been too in love with the brand, except from the clothing, like outerwear, scarves. That's pretty much it. I'm not even into the bags, to be honest. And with fragrances was pretty much the same. I have never had like my absolute holy grail from Burberry until Burberry Her. And this to me is like this beautiful strawberry, musky, baccarat rouge slightly fragrance. It has some cherry, but like a sweet cherry. It's just so nice. It has those beautiful red fruits. It's quite refreshing as well. It's sweet, very feminine, flirty. It is very long lasting. And if you guys don't know, it's been made by Francis Kurkdjian, my absolute love when it comes to perfumers. Low-key. So yes, I love Burberry Her. Very nice creation for the brand. This one is definitely my favorite, the original over the flankers. So yes, I only have one Burberry fragrance to show you, which I think is more than enough in my case, because I never thought I would have a favorite from them. So that is that, Burberry Her. And now we can move on to Jean Paul Gaultier. I have two fragrances. because they are so good. So the first one is La Belle. the original, not La Parfum. I think I still low-key prefer this one. The original has this sentimental touch to it for me because it was actually a gift from my boyfriend for our first Christmas together, and believe it or not, it's still the same bottle because I have another one in Africa, and South Africa, I mean, Africa as a continent, I mean. So I was using the other bottle. So now I am back in Europe and I'm using this one. And this just brings so many beautiful, special moments to me. It's so glorious. And as much as the Le Parfum version is more mature and darker and more complex, I gravitate towards this one. I cannot help it. So that is La Belle, the original. And the other one that I have is Scandal by Night. And this is a beautiful honey tuberose fragrance. So the original is definitely like this straight up like blood orange honey fragrance with some patchouli, but mainly a honey scent. This one is more complex. It has a lot of cherry, it has a lot of honey still, but also lots of tuberose. It's just so much more going on here. It does kind of smell like a sweet pulp from time to time, but it's super sexy. So, you know, it works. It just works. It is glorious. Super, super decadent, sexy, super rich. Great for partying. Great for nights out and dates. So, yes, I love having both in my collection. And I do recommend having both. Because to me, the original is actually more original. And this one, as much as it is more mainstream, it's actually so good and dense. So I love it. And I love tuberose, so what can I do? That is Scandal by Night. And I have only 3 brands left. Are you guys with me? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to be very, very quick. So the first one is Paco Rabanne. And with Paco Rabanne, I think nothing beats my good old Olympea, the original. This is the best of the best from the brand, in my opinion. I love the intense version. I love Acqua Leger. I love... yeah, that's pretty much it. I did not really love Pure XS as much as I love the bottle. The scent reminded me too much of the old XS fragrance for girls that I used to wear. Just know. And Olympea is Olympea. If you love salty vanillas with some jasmine, you're gonna love this. It's so good, it's glorious, sexy. It's not as dense as it used to be, but it's still worth having. So I highly recommend. My baby, my absolute baby. And now we have 2 more brands. So the first one will be a brand that I surprisingly do not have many favorites from. I used to love Parisienne, I used to love Saharian, I love Mon Paris. Actually, I am getting a bottle. I am regretting selling it so much. So I am getting a bottle. Of course, I'm talking about YSL if you haven't noticed. And this one is my current favorite from the brand. It's so good, and that is of course Libre. I don't have a cap. Long story, okay? This one is a lavender vanilla, but not like Mon Guerlain. This is more of a unisex / aromatherapeutic vibe here. Slightly. It also has a lot of white florals. It has some fruity touches in the beginning, a little bit citrusy as well. So, you know, it's just a very nice combination. It's definitely feminine leaning unisex. I think for some people it is actually even too unisex. But I really do love it. I am really fine with lavender in fragrances if they are blended nicely. So yes, it has a very good lasting power and projection. It really does project, it really does last. So I was pleasantly surprised with this one. So yes guys, this is YSL. Zara has a great dupe for it, just saying. YSL Libre. And last but not least, we have Versace. And I actually recently got a beautiful pair of Versace sunglasses. Let me know if you would like a fashion haul, because I am buying a lot of stuff lately, so maybe you would like to see. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, we have Versace, and my absolute favorite is definitely Crystal Noir Eau de Parfum. So that's the one with the coconut, and it is like this dark, slightly rotten fruits type of vibe with coconut and spices and amber. It is just good. It's definitely on the unique side. It definitely does lean Middle Eastern, but even though it's dark and quite deep, you can still wear it all year round, which makes it a very, very nice fragrance to have in general. The price you cannot beat, especially online. So yes, guys, if you don't have it already, just get it. With the whole diamond range, I do actually really like Bright Crystal, the pink one. I do like Bright Crystal Absolute. I hate Yellow Diamond. I really don't like it. And this one is nice. They should actually release another one, hey? I'm really missing some nice, dark, deep fragrances from Versace. I think it's about time that they released something new. Don't you think, guys? Don't you think? So yes, that is Versace Eau de Parfum Crystal Noir. And I think that is it, my lovelies. This is the end of the video. I was really inspired to do this one because I've never done like this, you know, holy grail from each brand. So please let me know if you liked it, and if so, I might actually do it every year, because, you know, it's a nice roundup of all the designer fragrances that have been released, and if something was released, is it worth replacing the older one that was my favorite? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, I hope so. I love you guys very much. Please tell me in the comments which are your favorites from the brands I mentioned. We could really go on and on and on. We could go with Valentino, which is definitely my favorite, one of my favorite fashion houses. We could go with Narciso Rodriguez. We could go with Viktor and Rolf. But guys, we would be here 3 hours at least. So that's it for now. Maybe actually I should do part 2 with all these brands that I mentioned and more. I don't know, guys. It's a free country. I'm very creative, so let me know in the comments what you want to see, and see you in my next one. Bye.